Good evening, and it's live. How are you?
How's it going, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. So there's just the two of us tonight, and good evening all in the chat. We'll come to the chat in a minute. Jay is in London on his way back from a school trip. So I think
On
he's
his
been
way
in
back.
London
Yeah.
all week. So I don't think he gets back home
Yeah.
to about 10 o'clock. So it'll be too late. So you have to put up with just me and Steve tonight. But it's been a while since
Sure
we've done
we'll be
one
able
of
to hold
these.
the fort.
I think so.
It has, mate. It has. It's been a long awaited one, hasn't it? Like I said, it's just one of those. It's the time of the season where things just happen in it. You know, it's like work, holidays, things like that. It just comes around in it the summer months. But yeah, good to be back, mate. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So we thought we said, how's your tank doing? Just kind of briefly, then we'll go through.
It's been a bit up and down, to be honest. I mean, we all talk about the good things, don't we? With our tanks, but in reality, it's not like I always talk about it. I post pictures and I do this and I do that, and I film on YouTube, as you know, and you do show the good things, but then like in the mindset, in the background, you start to see something that's not right, and you think maybe this is just a one-off, so you don't report it or you don't think. But when we had that bit of a heat wave not long ago, my tank's always been fine. I've never had any issues, with my tank with temperatures. Even if they've risen. Now, my temperatures went to about 27.2, 27.3. And it's gone there before. It's done exactly the same before, you know what I mean? And but for some reason, that Acropora, the rainbow, what's it called? The not the rainbow chalice, the other one, the acro, the rainbow. Sorry?
So you're talking about chalice or aquapora?
No, Acropora. I've forgotten the name of it. That one at the back. It was at the back of my tank, which was doing really, really good. I've had it for years. Yeah, it started to lose colour, and then all of a sudden, it started to white out. It started to, as if it was like RTN, but it wasn't RTN. It was STN. It was very, very slow.
Yeah.
And then over time, I was like, "Is it flow? Is it too much flow in it? Maybe." But no, for some reason, it just starts to deteriorate. And yet that's been through heat. I've changed nothing in my tank. I've done nothing to it whatsoever. It's all stayed the same. I've not added any more additives or anything different to the tank. But yeah, it just seemed very strange. And then all of a sudden, the Pikachu, that started to lose colour, started to lose the yellows in it, which I've always been good with yellows, like they always seem to keep colour. That started to lose colour. So I checked my parameters, and my parameters were fine. I mean, 8 ppm in nitrates, 0.08 in phosphates, which for me is pretty decent. I don't mind that. You know what I mean? The calcium was 440 alkalinity, between 8.5 and 9, which is what it runs at all the time now. Now that I've got it dialed in, magnesium like 1430, 1440. So everything was absolutely spot on. So, but it was only those two that started to really show signs of stress. Do you know what I mean? Now there's no saving that rainbow at the back. That's basically I've got a tiny little piece that I might be able to save. But as for the Pikachu, that started to get its colour back now. Started to go back yellow again. Yeah. So it seems that it was alive. Don't get me wrong. But it just seemed like it was stressing, like it was stressed, and it started to lose its colour, its pigmentation, and then all of a sudden it started to come back. Obviously, it's not as warm now. Everything's back stable. It's been a few weeks now on it, so it's stabilised again, and it just seems to be coming back with its colour now. But yeah, it seems really strange, like how things happen like that in a tank. It happens to us all, doesn't it, mate? You know what I mean? And
I know
really, that's the only bad thing really that's happened in the tank. The rest of it has been pretty decent, pretty good. Good growth. The rest of the colours coloured up really nice. Everything's fine with the rest of them. And like I said, that Holy Grail just growing heads like there's no tomorrow. Very, very fast grower, that Holy Grail in this tank for some reason, which is a good thing.
Well, you got things dialed in, though, haven't you? You got things dialed in, and it's an established tank. All that kind of stuff is in your favour, and you do get the odd call. I mean, the rainbow chalice that I had in the other tank, it lost all of its colour other than 2 colours. It had orange and green, and that was it. And then I moved it position a little bit, and all of a sudden it's come back, and it's come back to having 5 or 6 colours. And it was in the same position for a good 18 months, maybe longer than that. And for whatever reason, it just sulked. I moved it. It could be a coincidence that I've moved it, and it's come back okay. It could be that something was aggravating it, and I've moved it. I don't know, but sometimes it happens. But I think the thing what you do, don't panic. You don't start changing anything, and just try and understand what's going on. If it's only a couple of things, I was thinking the piggy, some of the minor elements, because yellows can be affected by some of the small elements that you don't test. And so,
well,
You're on mute, Steve. You're mute. You're on mute. Now speak.
Are we good?
Yeah, you're fine. Somehow you put yourself on mute.
Oh, don't know how. Like I said, mate. I mean, the rest of the corals and stuff. Like I said, the yellows I usually do pretty decent with, and the Pikachu I've had no issues, with before. But it just seems it's a coincidence that it happened, when it was warm, when we went through that warm spell. Yeah,
could have been that, couldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I've not changed anything. So I've not actually changed anything. So it can't be anything else. You know what I mean? Because I've not added anything to the tank. In terms of supplements. I'm using obviously the Corals Essential CVE, which I love. As I've said before, I absolutely love that. I'm using the Coral Power Food as well, which the Corals absolutely love. Yeah, so I've not gone off that. I've stayed on that path of doing it continuously at the same times and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it just I came down, like I said, I came down one day and it was. I could see something was not right, you know what I mean, with them, and it started to deteriorate, the colour. It was still alive because it wasn't like browned out or it wasn't white. It was still flesh on it. So I knew that obviously there's something lacking there, but I think it was just the heat. I think it just couldn't take the heat because it did go, like I said, to 27.2, 27.3, which is not high, really, considering I run mine at 25.8 to 26.
Yeah.
So
you're not far off, are you?
No, so it's not like it's big, but you just never know, do you? You just don't know, mate. And like I said, I tested all parameters and they were all fine. So yeah, I really don't know I don't know what it was, but touch wood. I'm not going to jinx myself, but it seems to have been back, and we're back on track with it. So that's the main thing. As long as it didn't die, that was all I was concerned about.
Yeah. Right, what we'll do, we'll go through the comments and then I've got a few bits to update on. So starting from the top, we've got Russell. So another week working, so I'm able to watch. So Russell popped in before we started. Tekka's Reefer, good evening to you. We've got Cotty's Reef. He is off to Signature Frags tomorrow to pick up his first 2 acros. So it's always a good time when you can put some macros in, and not a good place to go to as well. Evening, John. Hope you're well. Steph, I haven't seen you a while. Hope you're well. Hopefully the peninsula is treating you well. So hopefully that's going good. UKM120, good evening to you. Drippy, good evening as always. What's he saying? Really hope you didn't get sunburnt and resemble your cleaner shrimp. I think it's talking to me. No, I was fine. I was in Corfu for a week, so had a lovely time out there. So thank you for asking. Chris Allen, evening all. Feels like an age since we did this. Absolutely. There's a little bit of feedback, Steve. I don't know if it's coming on yours.
Feedback?
Yeah, I can hear me. I don't know if other people can as well. Anyway, I'll carry on. Right. Coral Essentials, good evening to you. I'm sure we'll talk about the Coral Essentials in a while. No, Ross isn't with us. Ross is Ross. He's in Germany at the moment, isn't he, Steve?
He's in Germany,
yeah. Hiya, Hayley. Good evening to you. MB Reefing, good evening. Moving on, we've got Marek. Steve's done a runner. Good evening to you. Hiya, Scott. Hope you're well. Yeah, I think it was a PC Rainbow he's talking about there. I'm not 100% sure. Scott's saying the website is live. Hi, Southeast Reefer. Good evening to you. And then we're going down to the bottom. And yeah, Stefan can hear an echo as well. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put Steve on mute and see if it is him or whether it's me. I think it is Steve, because now I can't hear myself playing back. So I have to get him to sort that in a moment. So it looks like I'm solo. So I've got no idea what he's doing. So I'll do a little update on the tank here, I think. Hopefully Steve can hear. So as I just said, been away for a bit. And as you may know, the stock ATO on this one only lasts about 2 days. So I managed to pick up, like Steve, I had you on mute because the echo was you. Let's see if that's better. I think that's better. You want to speak, Steve? No, you've muted yourself. Can you speak now? Anyway, I'll carry on and hopefully you'll join me. So I got hold of one of these. So I've had this for about 4 weeks now. And so far, so good. Pretty good. In as much as it's reliable.
Oh.
Hiya. You okay now? You going to say something, Steve? No, I don't think he can hear us. Anyway, I'll carry on. So yeah, I've got one of these. It took about 90 minutes to set up. The app's pretty good. Found that okay. As an ATO, it works pretty well. And I'm thinking, well, is it actually worth having one of those? But then it's got quite a good redundancy on it. So it measures the heat in your tank. It's not a temperature controller, but you can see in your app what the temperature your tank's running at. And also it's got a leak detector. And fingers crossed I'll never have to use that. But what I do like about it is you can see what's being dosed in terms of RO every day. If your temperature goes out of range, which it did on a couple of occasions, you get an alert, and that happened when I was in Corfu. So that was good to know. It went up to about 25.6, which is not that high, but I've set it within a range. The pump's a little bit noisy, but then I think pumps generally are. The Tons is pretty noisy, but then one of the others I've used is okay. But overall, I thought it's a good piece of kit. I think I'm going to leave it for 2 or 3 more weeks, and I'll do a review and see how it goes after about 6 weeks. I've got to say, compared to another ATO I've got, so this is another one I've got on another tank. So this one is less than half the price of the Red Sea one. Nothing fancy, plug and play within 5 minutes. I think it's a case of, I mean, Steve, I think you'd love the Red Sea one because, you know, it's a gadget. It's a gadget fest. I think it looks really good on
Yeah.
You can see at a glance whether the measure of your water and RO is on the money or it's a little bit too low, it's a little bit high. You see your temperature. You can see how much at a glance, how much you got left as well. So I think if you like gadgets and you want a bit of redundancy and peace of mind, then I think the Red Sea is worth it. But I was thinking next month I would have been reefing for 10 years. And every auto top up I've had, it's had no controllability on it in as much as in an app or anything. And when I had the big tank there, that was running off of a float switch for 6.5 years. And the only time I took it off the float switch when I went on holiday. So it's one of those, I was thinking, do you need it? So I think it's nice as a bit of peace of mind. Obviously, it's new technology, but do you need the controllability on that? I'm not convinced.
Yeah, but it's like anything, isn't it? It's like, do we need do we need an app to control our pumps? Do we need an Apex? Do we need, we can say we can say that about anything in this hobby, can't we? Do we need it? Yeah. It's not a case of do we need it. It's do we want it? Yeah. Do we want it to make our life easier? That's the way I've always said it. Yeah. And for me, it's like I like my Apex. I love my Apex. I absolutely. I would never have a tank set up without an Apex on it ever, because it saved my tank 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's probably the best money that I ever spent when I bought it originally. You know what I mean? When I bought it first thing.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I could understand like other gadgets, like say my KH keeper. Is that a necessity? Not really, because you can go buy £11 on a Salivert test kit or 60 quid on a Hannah checker. You don't need it. You don't need it. But it's there. It's on an app, yeah, and it can alert you if anything is untoward, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what I love. That's what I love about him. You know what I mean? Technology is technology, and you know, if it gives me a good idea and a reading of what my tank's reading at, you know what I mean? Then I'm all for it. But now, would I go out and buy the new Reef factory tester, which could control one thing? Probably not. Probably not. You know what I mean? Alkalinity for me is one of the most important things in my tank. So for me, yeah, that's the reason I bought that one. As long as that's stable, everything else should fall into place. But I mean, we don't need everything, like you said. But then again, though, Paul, yeah, it gives you that peace of mind, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
It does.
You know, when your water's low, stuff like that.
And it's a good backup, because as you know, we've always talked about the DD temperature controller. Love it. Got it all 3 tanks.
Yeah.
If that was to go, I wouldn't know, obviously, unless I'm here. What I would do is I would get an alert. So in a way, you could say it's a cheaper version of an Apex in a way, because I think one of the good things on the Apex is the way it controls the temperature, and it will let you know if it goes out of range. So if your heater goes kaput, you'll get an alarm. So with this, if the temperature goes down below a certain level or above, you put the parameters on it, it will send you a message. So I think in that respect, it's really good. And in terms of the temperature on the Reef, on the Red Sea, how does it compare to the DD controller? It has a bigger range. Now, what I've realized is in the DD controller is the probe is in the display. So I think you get more consistency. The Red Sea one is in the back chamber, and that's only about 4 or 5 inches away from the heater. So I think what's happening is when the heater's running, the water's flowing into the next chamber and it's sending the temperature up. And of course, then when it goes off, it comes down and it reads the same as the DD controller. So the downside of having the probe in a really small area and it's near the heater, I think it's giving it's accurate heating for that part of the chamber, but it's not accurate for the actual display itself. So I think the issue you have is where you've got the temperature on the same part as your readings for your RO. If that's too close to your heater, you're gonna have problems. Because I've always, other than the big tank, had my probes in the display, because that's where your main water is. I think you get a more reliable reading. So I think the reading is accurate, but it's different because it's in a different. It's only a small tank. It's only 100 liters.
You see, that's different. That's different to me, because I've always had my heat, my thermometer, my temperature probes and everything. In the return, in the return when the water comes from the tank and in the very first chamber. Because that's coming from the tank. You know what I mean? So really, once it hits that part there, right at the very beginning, just comes out through the pipes. That's where all my temperature probes are, in that very first chamber. You know what I mean? Which makes sense, I do know people who have it in the return chamber. You know what I mean? My mate used to have it in the return chamber, but it's going through it. I mean, it's not. I suppose it's not stagnant, but I suppose it's not in the sump for too long, because if you think about it, it's going through the skimmer, circulates there, and then it goes through the baffles, and then it's into the return. So it's not in there too long, you know what I mean, I suppose. But for the more accurate reading, I mean, really, you should have them in the display tank, to be fair. But I've
done that. It's worked for me, but you can have it in different places. I think on that one, where it's close to the heater and it's a small tank, and I can't put it anywhere else. Because you need, as you know, the ATO, you need that in the return chamber. That's the place you should have it. So therefore, there is a bit of an issue there, or potentially. But I'm not relying on it. It's a backup. And let's face it, if the heater goes, the temperature is not going to be false because the whole tank is going to move, is going to go down. I know there's a problem, and if the DD controller was to fail and the heater was on, you got feedback again, Steve. I don't know if you've done something.
No,
I don't think it's me.
Have I?
No, it's all right now. It's weird.
Is it me?
I'm just going to mute you. I'm just going to mute you. Right. I'm speaking and I can't hear myself. So it is you. I'm just going to.
I'm a good.
Right.
I'm a good.
No, there's still an echo. There's an echo.
Did it me? It's definitely not the computer because I download all the software's up to date, mate. It's definitely not me for sure. Let me see.
I'll speak again. And I can hear an echo. It's Steve. I don't know what's causing it. Have you got the volume coming from your ears though, haven't you? That's all right. I can't hear myself now. That's all right. Whatever you've done's worked.
1 minute, mate.
No, I think you're okay. Don't do anything. Don't do anything else. No live stream is complete without a sound issue.
What's that, mate?
I think it's all right now. It's all right. Don't do anything
No,
else.
I'm not doing. You know what? I'm not doing anything. I don't know whether it's. I don't know. You know, actually, whether it's these headphones. You know, I'm blaming the computer, but I think. I mean, these headphones I've had these for about 5 years, 6 years, and I'm thinking that maybe I mean, they're older technology, but I'm thinking because sometimes it'll disconnect, you know, from the computer, because it's wireless. So that's the reason they're not actually plugged in. You know what I mean? And that's the issue I've had. So I'm gonna have to get some of those headphones. I've never had Apple things, but I'm gonna have to buy some of them.
Everyone has a go at mine because they're old, they're cheapo ones, but
it
seems to
I'm
work.
gonna have to get some. I'm gonna have to get some new. Apologies if it keeps going off. I'm just gonna have to keep messing about with these. I did try my other ones to see if they worked, but anything wireless, I think anything wireless. I think it need when you're doing a stream like this, it needs to be connected. I think, to be honest.
So Roger was saying they can't hear either of us. So is that true or not? No one else has put it. So I'm assuming it's just Roger that can't hear us. I hope. Otherwise, we're just playing to ourselves. Yeah. So coming back to the ATO. So I think the Red Sea one's a good one. I think it's got good redundancy. So if you're looking at a bit of redundancy, the app works really well. People are saying fine, so that's all right. Good, that's a relief. So yeah, I would recommend it if that's what you're looking for. If you just want to plug and play, you're happy to put an ATO in, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I would go with that. But I'm really pleased with it actually.
Yeah.
And also I've had no bubbles and I think Stefan was saying about where was Stefan talking about just manually. There you go. I think you should all just do. If you do it, man. I was actually manually topping up the auto top up for a short period of time while I was waiting, and it was just such a pain. So I know you got a kind of laughing face there, but I know Reef King Cole is serious about it. I couldn't do that manual. I'd forget I'd forget to dose. I'd forget to do the RO, and it'd just be an absolute nightmare. So for me, I think there's certain things that you like doses. And an auto top up, you definitely need for sure. Steve. I don't know what you agree.
I tell you, I mean, doses, I mean, God, I mean, if I got running now, I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 doses I've got on the go. You know what I mean? It's just
right. So what you got? You've got a 7, and I don't think I've heard of someone having 7 doses.
I've got Calquaso. Yeah, I've got the Calquaso. I've got the usual 3. Yeah. Alkalinity, calcium, magnesium. Yeah. I've got the Calquaso, the CVE.
Yeah. So you got that on Dosa.
Got the CVE. Yeah, I've got the CVE. I've got the CVE on Dosa as well. Yeah, and then I've got a temporary thingy on Dosa ready. I mean, let's rephrase that. Yeah, I've got one on standby. You know, the no pop. Well, it's not the no pop. So I use the finger one. You know, the what's it called? Oh, the aquaforest stuff. that stuff to reduce. It's the equivalent of no pox. I forgot what it's called now.
Oh, right. Okay, I don't know. But Aquaforest, so basically, it's basically
Yeah,
carbon,
the
carbon
Aquaforest stuff.
dose. So it's carbon
I've got
dosing.
that
Yeah.
carbon dose, and I've got that on standby as a just in case. And then I've got that Reef Flowers. You know, the Reef Flowers, is it Reef Flowers Amino? I've got that dose as well. So yeah, so I've got 7 on the go. Well, I've got 6 officially on the go and 1 off.
1 as a backup.
You know what I mean? 1 as a backup just to get. And this is the funny thing, because I've never used that stuff yet. I bet it's a year. It's got to be a year, and I don't know whether it goes off or what, but it's supposed to be a carbon source in it. So I don't know. I don't know whether it would go off or whether you get like 2 or 3 years on it or something, because it must be a year. It's well over a year old, and it's still a full bottle. You know what I mean?
I'd have a look at. I look at the date. Yeah, so I think certainly with the no pox, as long as it's sealed and it's wasn't exposed to the air, then it was okay. And of course, it would have an expiry date on it. So if your expiry date's okay, and if it's in the doser and it'd be airtight, I think it should be okay.
Yeah. Well, it's airtight. It's definitely airtight. Yeah. But like I said, I mean, I just don't know whether it's. I don't know whether it's actually gone off or what. To be fair, I mean, I really should look into that because I don't want to be dosing anything that could be poisonous, or worse. You know what I mean? Into the tank.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. Like I said, to be honest, I should just throw it because, I've never used it, mate. You know what I mean? I just have it on a standby. God forbid, you just had excessive phosphates or nitrates. That's the only reason why I had it. You know what I mean? But to be fair, I struggled to get them.
I was about to say, you haven't had a problem. In fact, you had a problem keeping at the higher levels that you want.
Exactly. And it was just a bottle I bought. When I was at Cracking Corals, I thought, you know what, let's just get one of these just in case. And like I said, it's been over a year, well over a year. It might be a year and a half, to be fair. But I've never used it, mate. But yeah, I'll have to check that off, throw it.
Yeah. So what doses you got? You got the 4 Versas, and then what's the other doses?
I've got 5. I've got 5 Versas now.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay.
I've got 5 Versas. I've got the other one not long ago. I've got that one. So that's dialed into my CVE now.
Yeah.
Then I have the D&D Pro.
one.
Is it the D&D Pro? I've got 2 of them. I've got 2 of them. 2 of them.
That makes it up. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know what? I tell you what, those D&D Pros. You know what? Don't get me wrong. Yeah, they are fantastic. Great little things to set up. So easy to set up. I mean, granted, they're not in the ballpark of Versas. Do you know what I mean? But they're a hell of a lot cheaper than Versas. So
well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Yeah.
That's the difference, you know what I mean? And Versas are more, you can dial them into minuscules of liquids. So it's like 0.01 mil of a liquid or something stupid like that. Yeah. You can dial it in so that's good for say if you're dosing amino acids. So say you only want to dose 10 mil amino acids a day or 5 mil, whatever you want to do. Yeah, a Versa can do that. Whereas the D&D Pro, it's just got most of them won't be able to do that. Won't be able to dial it in like that. If you want to dose it all the way through the day, it'd be too small amount. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, fantastic little pumps, great little pumps, and they're right. One of them's right in where on the ledge where my the CO2 scrubber is. It's sitting on top of that. So yeah, really, really good doses.
Yeah. So I mean that's the thing, isn't it? So the DD doses are good, but you've just explained there the kind of the difference, they're head and shoulders, but you get what you pay for in that respect, don't you? It depends what you want to do as well, how much controllability you want, how many times you want to dose a day, and also how much you want to dose a day. If you're dosing 3 or 4 times a day and it's 5 mil here, 6 mil there, then the DD ones would probably be fine, and a lot of people use those. It's just you're now getting into dialing it a bit more because of what you need to do. Yeah,
no, that's it, mate. That's it. It's it is. And it comes down to like you just said, like we just spoke about before, about controllability with, you know, do we need an app? Do we need this? I mean, the Mobius app now, since all those bugs have been fixed and everything that was on it, you know, at the beginning, now it runs flawless, mate.
Really?
So I don't know whether they've adapted the technology for an AI, obviously.
Well, I think it's the same technology, but the A1 was better. Was better than the
the A1 was a lot better, mate. A hell of a lot better. It was night and day, mate. It was night and day. Yeah, the AIs and stuff like that. Their app was like, and they have adapted. Mobius have adapted their sort of, you know, how can I put it? The way they run it. So I don't know whether they've got their technology in it or what, but it's flawless, mate. I mean, I've never had any cut-offs, you know, like updates or anything like that, you know, like, oh, you need to update, or it's never not come on and I've had to reboot it. So I don't want to jinx myself, you know what I mean? But up to now, I haven't had any of that whatsoever, you know what I mean, since the last time it got updated. But yeah, I mean, it got, like you said, and it's good with that, because you have templates. With the verses, you have templates, so you can have your calcium, your alcohol, or you can have trace elements. All you got to do is just press it, say how many times you want it to go, what you want to dose, how much you want to, and it'll divide it between it.
So it's a bit like the radians, isn't it? When you've got templates and you choose. So you haven't got a program. What do? Do the template, then you adjust it a little bit for what you need to do.
Yeah. Or you go custom, like I've gone custom with mine, because obviously, like the amount that I'm dosing, I dose my alkalinity stuff all the way through the day. I dose it 24 hours a day. Yeah. So at this moment in time, let me just go on it now. At this moment in time, I am dosing. What is it now? We're loading back up a bit. 1 minute. 62 mil of that I'm dosing a day, of that. But a spare, you could dose that only one if you want. You could dose it in 4. You can do it dose in 6. I've got mine doing it 24 hours, mate. Over the 24 hours, you know what I mean?
Spreads it evenly. So I used to do that at the Apex. The Apex doses like that. So I used to say, right, alkalinity from 7:30 in the morning. I think I did it to about 11:30 in the evening. And I was dosing 120 mil, and all I said was I want it between X time and Y time, and it would just evenly do it every 5 minutes. I think it was dosing a small amount, so you get that real consistency during the day. And then overnight is when I would dose the magnesium and the calcium, and also my Nopox, because you don't want to do it all at the same times, because participates, doesn't it? So, and I'll do a gap between Nopox. I used to do over about 3 hours overnight, because I used to run the tank purely on Nopox for years, and it worked really well. I mean, talking about Nopox, there's actually some comments in here about Nopox. So here we go. There's Stefan, I'll come back to your comment on lights in a minute. So been dosing Nopox for 4 months and hasn't reduced my phosphates, and now using Max Specs. Nopox doesn't reduce PO4. So I found it did reduce the PO4 as well as the nitrates, but not as efficiently. So what I used to have to do is a bit like what you did. So all of a sudden, my phosphates would my nitrates were fine. It would keep most of the phosphates in, but it just every so often it would edge up a little bit. So I'd put some rower phos in for a short period of time, probably 2 weeks. That would bring the phosphates down. Then I'd take the reactor out and just carry on with it. So I think it's far more efficient with nitrates than it is with phosphates. But I found that it did have an impact on phosphates, but I had to supplement it with other things elsewhere. But I
agree.
Yeah,
it did reduce the phosphates slightly, not by much, but definitely the nitrates. I mean, at first, when I was new into it on the 170 and stuff, I did struggle with that at the beginning. I started getting a bit of algae and stuff, and it was like it went a bit crazy and things. But then when I started to learn a little bit more and stuff, and then I started to use the Nopox, I think I overdosed it slightly, because it just like literally stripped all of the nitrates out of the tank. You know what I mean? It like within a week, it was and I think the nitrates were like 40 or something at the time. So it was really, really high. But I mean, something you shouldn't do at So, you know what I mean? He's stripping down by that, like within a week.
They
You know what I mean?
hate it
Seeing
more
up
than
and
they
near
like the
enough.
high. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
oh, mate, yeah, it was like it. Yeah, I mean, the corals. I don't. In fact, I had that bubble coral in my tank. Yeah,
Yeah.
and how the hell that survived that, I do not know. It just goes to show. And now it's like the size of a football, mate. It's just like, what in the hell? How the hell did that survive that? Like stripping it, just like within a week. But they're dead hardy, mate. Corals are hardier than you think. You know what I mean? A lot of them, to be fair.
They can be, absolutely. And then John's put about dosing phosphate. My tank eats it. I was using that to, so I was dosing the NIOS phosphate plus to put phosphate in one of the other tanks because I had cyano. And I got to say, I haven't used it for a while now because the cyano's gone. The balance, they've got a decent balance between the phosphate and the nitrates. Well, I did before I went on holiday. I haven't tested before, but I've got no cyano in that tank. So John, what are you dosing? What brand? Just interested to hear on that one. So let's just go up. So lights. So Stefan is upgraded. So he's got the same tank as this. He's just added the Reef Factory Reef Flare Blue S. Going to be getting some high-end Acropora. What par are you looking for, Stefan? Because I've got to say, when I used the par meter on this, I was getting about 300 at that kind of level with these lights. So this is the stock lights that come with it. So it's the 50, the LED 50s. I thought it was okay, but of course I'm keeping LPS. So I've got no SPS in the tank, so the par doesn't really matter to me. But 300 isn't. What kind of par do you keep your acros at, Steve? Is it higher than 300?
Oh, yeah,
5 or 6
yeah.
at
Well,
the top?
I mean, yeah. Where the Stylopora and that Ceratopia is around about 500 par up there. But like I've said before in the past and on the videos, yeah, is that they're used to that. That's what it's always been. You know what I mean? 400. It's always been like for 4 years, 4.5 years. You know what I mean? So they've been used to that. But over the other side, where all of them are, yeah, obviously it dips, doesn't it? It drops slightly, and I think it was about 360 there. 340, 360 around that area, all in that area. So it's not too bad, to be fair. I mean, you don't want it much more than that, I don't think, to be honest. 300, 340, 360. I think that's the park you really need to. I mean, I would never advise going 500 because obviously, I mean, yeah, that just wouldn't. You shouldn't really do that. But they just, like I said, they just adapted and grow, and they're under that light,
aren't they? They'd probably
sulk
if you get 200.
Yeah,
they might lose some of their
reckon they would. I reckon they would. In fact, I don't think they'd die, but definitely they would definitely soak for sure. You know what I mean? But you never know. They could be even better under lower. But I think it's just, over time, like I said before, it's just they've just adapted to the surroundings and the light, and they, you know what I mean. It's been 4 years that they've been on that top of that top ledge. So yeah. But I would say around 300, 340 is a good number, I think. For SPS.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on some of them. Some of the deep water acros, you can get away with a lot less, can't you? So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, let's just go through some of the comments. There's some talk about PO4 in there. So, John, some of the phosphate's free if you want mine. Mine is 0.7. It was 2 last week, so that's come down pretty quick there.
Well, that's John, good. Yeah, jeez.
Mine's nearly 2. Don't know why. So that's pretty high. So Stefan, is your corals all right at 2? I suppose it depends what you're keeping, isn't it?
Yeah. 2. Wow.
Yeah, that's quite high, isn't it?
Jeez. Yeah, that's extremely high.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, we've discussed before about GFO, especially Rorophos. I think it's sometimes better to put a small amount in, and then you add a bit more to the container, or depends what you're doing. If you put it in a bag, it's not so bad. But if you got it in in something, then you got a problem, haven't you? If you put it in not. I mean,
Rorophos, I think is like the best. It's the best on the market, to be honest. Let's be honest. I mean, everybody who I spoke to about that says exactly the same as what John's saying there. It's like literally any sort of like GFO, it'll just strip it and it strips it too quick. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
Like in a reactor, because it's really efficient, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've said it before. I don't run anything in my tank. I don't run carbon. There's no carbon in my tank. There's no raw phos in the tank. The only time they go in there is if I've done like cutting of zoas or corals, snaps them and this and the other. And that's the only time I ever put carbon in. Yeah, raw phos I only put in if my nitrate, my phosphates are above what I need them to be. So when I say above, I mean like I like to run mine between 0.7 and 0.11. Yeah, that seems to be a good point where my tank seems to do pretty decent. So, but I've had them as high as 0.44, and yet the tank looked really good. And I was like, what in the hell? Like it's crazy. I'm like, oh, it looks really nice, this. But then I'm like, whoa, now we're on that band where we don't want it to go too high. It could go major. And then before you know it, then you're stripping it down with GFO. And it could just become a disaster then. So I like to keep it that. So if I do find it going up, then I just put a little bit in the reactor and I just bubble it going, let it go for a few days, test again, and then hopefully see if it's come down. And then I just take it out then. I take it out of the reactor, you know what I mean, once it's down to where I want it to be.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, I think it's like anything. It's bad to strip it too quick. I think it's the same with anything, isn't it? Whether it be phosphates, nitrates, or alkalinity or anything like that. If you get bigger swings in there, you're just asking for trouble. There's a question here about, so can calc dosing, can that strip your PO4? So does calc reduce PO4, Steve? I don't remember us mentioning that before.
No. All calc is just a calcium hydroxide, isn't it? So basically, all it is it's just adding. An easier way of just explaining it is it's just basically it adds calcium and it adds alkalinity into your tank, but it also raises your pH. So if you suffer with lower pH in your tank, which most of us do as reefers, to be fair, I mean, unless you've got a wide open space, loads windows and everything, except or a line outside, via a reactor, then you're laughing. But some of us are not blessed like that. But I mean, for me, for sure, the pH has gone through the roof. I mean, my pH sometimes like 8.54 on my things. You know what I mean? It's just gone. Whereas I struggled to get to 8 before having it, mate. So you could just see the difference. I was getting 8, 7.98, 8. That was all. I wasn't getting anywhere near it, mate. And since dosing that, it's just gone absolutely crazy. But it doesn't. What do you call it? I've not seen any sign of it to be to do anything for phosphate, to be honest. But I could be wrong.
You haven't seen any impact on yours as a result?
No. Like I said, I mean, my phosphate rises. It does rise if I feed too much or I put too much thing. It'll rise just like anybody else's tank. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I figured out on how much food I need to put in. Figured out especially like with Coral's Essentials Coral Power food. Like it's not like the older stuff that I used to use, like the Reefroids, where if you want to raise your phosphates,
use that.
Dump a load of that Reefroids in, that guaranteed it will definitely raise you. Whereas like the power food, that's got nothing in it, mate. It feeds the corals, gives them, and when I say feeds the corals, most of you are using it anyway. But it's just like literally the scollies, everything just loves it. Salts, corals, everything loves it, but it doesn't raise nutrients. It's all organic stuff. It's really good stuff.
Is that the CVE you're talking about? CVE you're talking about?
No, that's the coral power food. The power food. Yeah. The power food, Whereas, like, it smells like Reefroids. It smells everything about it. It looks like Reefroids in a way, Everything about it just is similar, but it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't raise nutrients. It doesn't raise phosphates. Whereas, as you know, when you put Reefroids in the tanks, you think you're doing all right, and then the next week you test your tank, your phosphates are like through the roof, and you're like, what in the hell? And it's come from Reefroids. It's great stuff. Don't get me wrong. It does. Corals love it.
Corals absolutely love it, don't they?
Well, you've got to be sparingly with it, mate. You've got to go sparingly with that stuff. Do you know what I mean? It is a phosphate.
When I used to dose it, I would then do a water change usually later on that day or the next day, because I like to dose it, and the corals really liked it. But then if you do a water change after it or the next day, then you can kind of keep it in check a bit more. But if I was using it on a regular basis, I would struggle to control my my parameters.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But like I said, really, all of the other stuff, all of the stuff like the CVE stuff, and like I said, the power food, I'm not seeing any. There's nothing. All I do is feed. I mean, phosphates and nitrates have remained stable, mate, for weeks and weeks. To be fair, you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, and I'm feeding pretty heavy now in my tank because obviously they were quite low, weren't they? But now they seem to be stable. I'm dumping a load of that food what I make, and yeah. Everything's happy, mate. All the corals are happy, growing. That's the main thing.
Is a fair comment from Black Pearl Reef. So good evening to you. So instead of finding ways to remove PO4, surely it'd be better to find out how it's getting into the tank to begin with. More than likely it's overfeeding or type of food. I think absolutely
100%.
I think best will in the world. Sometimes you are going to overfeed, and sometimes it is going to go up, and sometimes you just need to tweak it. And some, if you occasionally you find some people in the rock. So if some people buy some of the ceramic rock or some of the aquascapes that are custom, they can leach PO4 for the first few months. Which I suppose in the first few months it doesn't matter too much about corals, but of course if you get in the first few months, the tank is not stable. So in which case that can drive algae and things like that. But I've certainly seen people talk about PO4 in relation to the kind of man-made custom aquascapes. But yeah, I think you're right. It's better to try and understand what you're doing and can keep it in check rather than it spiking. But it's not always that easy. But yeah, absolutely. And they got a comment now about your tank looks much nicer with that clam at the front. I mean, that clam is super. I can't believe you've had that jewel in the crown hidden around the side of your tank for so long until recently.
Honest to God, it's madness. And you know what? To think that it started as like the size of what I think it was about 1.5 inches or something. That was it. It was a tiny little thing, you know. It's just, honest to God, it's I would not have a tank without a clam. I absolutely love clams. I just think they're fantastic. They fascinate me, mate. They're just fascinating things they are. You know what I mean? I love it. I really do like them, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you there for sure. I mean, it just, Stefan, it does look really good. And now that I've shifted a few things around, there's going to be a few more things shifted about. Try clearing a little bit of the stuff off the sandbed. And stuff over time. You know me. I'll shift it. And then I'll buy it, mate.
Yeah, I was about to say. So mate, what are you going to do? You're going to sell some pieces or?
Yeah, I'm getting rid of a few bits and bobs, mate. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of a few bits and bobs. I've had a few people messaging me wanting the chalice. I said there's no chance. I was tempted with 1,500. I was tempted with 1,500 quid though, to be fair. But yeah, no. I mean, but like my missus says, you know what though? It's like you could do that, and because I said, what about if like I sold something like that and then I moved on and I bought something like I've always wanted a tiger torch, you know what I mean, and stuff like and you know, but then I think, well, yeah, I could get a tiger torch, I could get another small piece of chalice, and start again and do it again, but. Every time I look at that piece, it just seems to get better and better and better, mate. The colours are like blending in together. It's looking more like a proper rainbow, like swirl all in the middle. It just looks absolutely incredible. So so I'm thinking it could probably be a regret if I ever did anything with it. And that's the reason why I said, you know what? No matter what, now I'm not going to do anything with it, mate. I'm not going to frag it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep that. That is one piece I'm just going to keep. And hopefully my tank will keep going well and it'll just keep growing and growing. And maybe, you never know in the future, if we could get enough money together, buy maybe a bigger tank or you know, something different. You know what I mean? But
the work you'd have to do. We talked about this before.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Trying to put a bigger tank in that space.
Yeah.
The stress in doing that and what you'd have to do.
Oh, mate.
You know, all of that stuff in a brand new tank. You're sweating just thinking about it, aren't you?
I certainly, you know what? I certainly wouldn't film it as a YouTube video anyway because it will bleed it out, mate. Everything will be bleated. You won't hear me. Oh, mate, the stress levels. God, yeah, mate, God knows. Yeah, you need a team together. You need a team. Last time I did it on my own. You know what I mean? I did everything on my own. I built the cabinet. I built, but the only thing was I got my next door neighbour and my mate of mine, and he helped me with the tank, lifted the tank on top of the, on top of the cabinet. That was the only thing that I had, mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, imagine like going bigger than that, and yeah, 350. Oh, like if I did, I'd go. I wouldn't go any more than like 525 or something. 550 liters or something. Or something like that. I think that's the way I'd probably go.
Yeah.
I won't go any more than that. You know what I mean? I think 500 will be just enough. Will just be enough. You know what I mean? And without pushing it. But yeah. I mean, even then, you just never know. You never know, mate.
I know what you mean. It's nice having the big. I don't miss having the 5 foot tank in terms of maintenance and stuff like that. Yeah. I found the smaller tanks a lot easier just to fit in with your time. I mean, I've got 3 tanks and I might well go down to 2 tanks because I'm thinking I don't really need 3 tanks, but I've just got to decide which one to close down. But yeah, I've got to say I don't miss having the bigger tank from the water changes and the maintenance, because I know you don't do water changes and that, but I think when you start a new tank, that first 12 months, I think having water changes and having that discipline and every week and getting a routine, I think it really helps the tank. And then after time, you can do what you're doing, which is, no water changes and, the 2 tanks in the gap. This one has a water change every week. It's less than a year. The other 2 tanks get a water change every so often because they're, 3.5 years and 2.5 years. They're established. They can not have a water change for 6 weeks, 2 months. It make no odds. It makes no difference. If I don't have a water change on this one, the corals don't like it. I don't know if it's because it's a smaller tank or it's not very old. So I think water change, I think, really help on a younger tank, for sure. And I think if I went and put a 600 tank in, I'd have to do 10% every week because I know that's the route, that is the route to getting through the first 12, 15 months, bang on. And it just takes any errors away as well. Just by that small 10%, I think just helps you quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't do a water change. Freaking hell, no chance, mate. No.
You forgot how to do it, yeah? How'd you do that?
I know, yeah. How do you use one of those sand sifter things? Now I've forgotten. The sand sifter things.
Yeah.
I used to be an expert at that, mate. I used to be an expert at that thing for sure. But now, no. I remember once when I started out on it, mate, and I started sucking. So I was like, "What the hell?" And everything was getting blocked. And I had all my snails, all my Nazarian snails, were all stuck in the pipe work. I was like, "Yeah, this water change business is not for me, mate." I was had to snap the cake, the tubing and all that, and get all the snails out. Yeah, it was just like, no, can't be doing with this.
I tell you what, doing 15 liters on this is such a breeze. I can do it in about 15 minutes. Clean the glass, take out the 15 liters, put the 15 liters in, done. It's so much easier.
I could do that. I could do 15 liters. Yeah, no problem. 15 liters, no worries, mate.
I'd rather not do it, but it's a lot easier, to be fair.
Yeah. When I say I won't do water changes, I wouldn't mind doing like 15 liters. Yeah, no problem. But not like 50, 60, 80, 100 liters.
Talking 45, 50 liters is the equivalent on yours.
Yeah, exactly. No chance. No, that's not happening.
No, I know what you mean. Right, let's see some other comments on the PO4. To get it perfectly balanced, very difficult, but a few digits out can still bring great results. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Understand phosphate can be absorbed in the rock and then released. Absolutely. And some people, if they reuse rock and they haven't reset the rock, like bleaching it or that kind of thing, you can have all loads of phosphate and nitrate locked into it. So you get people that buy secondhand tanks, they put the rock in and they just have problems for the first 12 months because it's just all bound to the rock. Tony's saying good luck. Don't forget to hit the like button. That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We need to remember on PO4 when we test what's available and not what's being used. Yeah, absolutely. Scott's saying about getting a tank go the whole length of that wall.
I know Scott came to the house the other day and he was like, he's trying. My missus is beginning to
Is she coming round to
he's
it?
saying he's saying that Scott's becoming a bad habit to you, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, every time he's trying to persuade you to buy a bigger tank. I'm like, he is, yeah. How did you know? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I understand exactly what Scott means, and yeah, I've come to the point in my tank where it's like you can't go anywhere. You know, with it, it's come to the point where it's like it is a finished to a certain degree. It's a finished product, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Where can I go? All that can happen is the corals can grow out of water and like it'll be just completely full. You know what I mean? There's no, I can't add anything to it. I can't, you know. It has come to like the jigsaw puzzle that's been finished to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like you said, it's just the logistics, Paul. Like you just mentioned, like just changing it, getting it all done, and you know, building one here. And I mean, you've been to my house, so you've seen the side. It's not a mansion, and it's just like it'd just be an absolute nightmare to try and change everything.
And you can't really put it anywhere else. So it's not as if you can say we're going to move it. We're going to put a tank on the other side of the room. Therefore, you set it up, run to, you transfer some things over, and over like a 6-month period, you close that one down, and then that's the ideal position to be in, because actually there's a tank's doing well, you transfer a few bits over, goes bad, you transfer them back. So that's what I do. If a coral's not doing very well, I'll take it out of one and put it in the other.
Well, to be honest, you see here, what I was thinking of putting one just along this wall here, all along there. I was going to put a big one there.
What kind of size can you do along there, Steve? 5 foot?
Oh yeah, these would take 5 foot on that, 5-6 foot maybe. And then what I was going to do was put one there, and then move this city here, and bring it over to this side here, just here, take that down, and then we was going to decorate and do everything, decorate the whole house and stuff, and then obviously the city then would go here where this tank is. So we're gonna get a new city 3-piece suite, get a new city there, put one there, and then just have a single chair here, which I'm sat on. That's all. That's all. That's what I was going to do.
Decorate that wall behind you first.
Absolutely,
Stick the tank there. Have 2 tanks going. Close that one down.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like a military operation for like 6-9 months.
Exactly.
And you'd have the decorating done after a year.
Exactly. And not only that though, you're looking at. I mean, where we're going to put that big sofa. You know what I mean? It'd have to be done within a couple of days. It'd have to be done in 2 days. So the whole house would have to be. So my thing he was thinking was, if we decorated the house, we decorated the house up to like you said, this wall, all around that area first, done all around that area first, and then I bought the tank, set the tank up just put the tank in the kitchen. In its boxes and stuff, left it in the kitchen for the time being, and then when it was ready, build the tank, move that over, and transferred it all basically in a day or 2. That's what I was thinking. That's the only way it can be done. You know what I mean? And then decorate this side. That's the only way you could do it. You know what I mean? To be honest, there's no other way you can do it. Or shut this tank down, close the tank down, put them all in. The plastic tubs, the tubs that you can get, those big tubs. Leave it in the kitchen with all the heaters and everything for a week or so. Decorate in the house, and then build a new one and put it there. That's another thing what we could do. We could do that. It could do, but it's logistical.
You frag a lot of the coral. So instead of having the big colonies like that, you go down to maybe having 2 or 3 small frags. So you have a little bit of a backup. And that way you got the bigger tank, you got the smaller corals, and then all of a sudden it starts again. So you're not going back to square one. So you're keeping your stock, but it's a lot smaller.
Scott said exactly the same thing, and he said what you could do then is you could sell the bigger colonies that you've got, get some money and get some or get some credit or whatever, and then then whatever stuff you need. Like with your new tank, then you can just go and get it from the credit that you've earned through your corals that you traded. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. You know what I mean? In a way, for sure.
I've also got. There's about 3 or 4 people locally that I gave some of the corals to from here, and they're still okay. So if I do start up a big tank, I'll just get a frag from them. Just take a frag back. They've got colonies now. That's fine. I didn't want anything for them. They're looking after them. I've spread them around different people. So if I want some frags back, I can then put them in there. So I haven't got to worry about, because there was no way I could fit everything into the smaller tank. So I've got, if I want a frag, and some stuff I would want frags of, and others I'm really not fussed about. So I just got a little bit of, share the love, but then I can get the corals back if I want a frag. Something like a tricolour, acro, and some other stuff like that, if I want it back. So there's different ways you can do it. I like the idea of fragging, get rid of that stuff. It takes longer, then you've got the smaller pieces and there's less. You can even set up, you can move have a smaller tank, borrow a temporary tank, put it in there in the kitchen for a short period of time, because it just as a frag rack. You could do it that way, couldn't you?
I mean, the only thing I have a worry about really is in that sense is like, my higher end corals, like my bubble corals, my holy grail, low stuff.
You can't frag the bubble
rainbow
coral,
chalice, mate. That's what I mean. And the rainbow chalice,
but
I'm
small
thinking
enough though. You ain't got to frag it though, have you? You haven't got to frag that.
No, any sort of stress, mate, could kill it and wipe it out, and I'd be like devastated. And that's like that. This is like the thing for me. This is a massive thing for me in one sense of shutting down this tank. Is because God forbid, you heard about it, don't you? It's all very well and good that, like, when I transferred my 170 into my 350, no issues whatsoever, mate. I had zero issues whatsoever, and I transferred all the rock, the existing rock. I bought some extra rock, and I put that in. But I had a load of, the max spec bio balls and stuff like that. So I already had that.
You've got the bacteria, haven't you?
The bacteria, that biological media that was in the tank for months, before I transferred it into my 350. So for me, I had a good start. I had a good kick start, So that's the reason why I think that I never had any issues. Do you know what I mean?
So you had that stability, didn't you? So I'm just going to stop you there, because there's a comment there. So Hayley, haven't seen you in a while. Been a bit of a rubbish time lately. Hope every one of your tanks are doing great. So we're doing great. Love to you. Hope you're
love to you,
okay, and see you back on a regular basis. I miss you as a kind of the eyes and ears for us. So
absolutely,
good to see you.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of comments here about easy to sell and start again and try and move it. Big tanks are hard work.
I've heard
that. Always best to go as big as possible right from the start. Absolutely. I mean, certainly, I think it's cheaper in the long run to do that, because you're then not selling tanks and having to rebuy. No. It's that balance, isn't it?
No, totally agree.
And then there's a comment here about coral snow. So I think, Economical Reef, are you talking about the Zeovit coral snow? So I use coral snow when I start up a tank. So Zeovit have been around for years. They're a German company. They're kind of blue bottles. So I use coral snow when I start a tank along with Zeobac, and it adds bacteria. So I don't use it for water clarity. It helps feed corals, and it also puts natural bacteria into a tank. So I use that with Zeobac for a period of time. I mean, I've still got some of it left, but I don't dose it now. But I usually dose it on the tank for the first 6 months or so, because I think it helps. I know H2O Aquatics, which is an LFS near me, and they use coral snow to feed their corals. I don't know what's in it, because the problem with Zeovit is it never really tells you what's in there. But they've been going around for ages. Like Red Sea, where you've got all their recipes. The frustrating thing with Zeovit, they do loads and loads of good stuff. The people who run their tanks got some really amazing tanks in Germany. It's not widely used. But the problem is they don't actually write down what the recipes are. So they don't say you should dose this and you should do this and you should do that. So I think it's an underrated company, and it's not used very often, and not many LFS stock the products. But I also use their Cyano Clean as well. So if I've got a bit of Cyano, I'll use the coral snow, the Zeobac, and the cyanobacteria as well. And that seems to work. So I don't know if that helps or not, but I haven't used it for water clarity before, and I haven't really noticed. I haven't looked whether it helps the water clarity or not. Maybe it does. I just haven't noticed. But that one's there. What else have we got?
John's question there. Thinking of removing rock with pallets on it to make room. What's the best way to remove it and reuse it? Be very extremely careful with all sorts of stuff.
So if you're going to sterilize, shall we say, the rock, there's two ways you can do it, I think. Both of them you need to do outside. If you boil the rock, which you could boil it, it gives off the toxins. So do it at the far end of the garden, and people don't tend to recommend that. The other way you can do is use bleach. On bleach, you can use, I think it's 7-to-1. So you can get unscented bleach, 7 parts water to 1 part bleach, I think it is. If you look on BRS TV, they've got some good videos on it. So the rock in this, I bleached. I left it in a container at the other end of the garden for 7 days. I then rinsed it off once with RO. With bleach, if you dry the rock out, the bleach evaporates, and therefore you're not putting the bleach back into the tank. So what I did was with the rock, I cleaned it off with RO. I picked off any crud or anything that was on it, and then I left it in the shed. And I left it in the greenhouse rather than the shed, because you get more air circulating in it until it's dried off. It has to dry off though, because if it doesn't dry off, the bleach doesn't evaporate. But as I say, BRS have got.
Surprised you didn't have Jeeves blowing his hair dryer on it in your garage.
What, in the house? I'm not going to do that. I'm like, he might sue me.
No, in the garage. In the garage on his shaggy rug, mate. That's what I'm thinking.
No, there's other tanks. There's not enough room for that rock. He was out in the greenhouse.
Banished. You banished him.
That's what I would do anyway on that. But
I agree.
Certainly the pallies, you've got to be really careful. I've only done that to rock, not with pallies on. So I must admit, personally, I'd probably bin the rock, and I wouldn't take the risk, because if you've got pallies on it, what's the point? But I mean, there's 2 ways you could do it, but I'd be really cautious, John, if you got pallies on it. Maybe I'm being a bit OTC.
I would.
But if it's a small piece of rock,
I agree.
I would just bin it or destroy it, and then start again with another piece of rock, because all you're doing is sterilizing it. So you might as well just put a new piece of rock in. But it depends on the size of the rock. He doesn't have a garden. I tell you what, if you ain't got a garden, then no, I definitely wouldn't do it.
No, just bin it, John. Just bin it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's just. I definitely do not do anything in the house with it. 1,000,000%. Never. Absolutely do not do anything with it. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Like you said. I mean, it's just not. No, it's not me. It's just not. I mean, I know I've got pallets on one of my rocks, and if for instance, like I was stripping it down and all that, there's not. I just, like you said, I'd probably bin it. There's no point in scraping them off, try to get rid, having the glasses and the gas mask on and all that business, mate. Just get rid of it and just buy another one. Yeah, that's what I'd do. I wouldn't be messing about with it. Absolutely. No chance. But, just too dangerous. You hear too many horror stories, don't you? You know, with it and stuff like that, to be fair.
Yeah, but I've got quite a lot of old rock that I do reuse, because the old rock I've got is the rock that I bought in my first tank, and it was proper live rock. I remember going to Charterhouse Aquatics in the back. They had big tubs, and it was, I can't remember if it was Fiji rock or Indian, so it was proper rock. And that kind of rock is it's a lot lighter than the man-made rock, and it's so porous. So I would never get it. So that rock there is made up of it. So that's why I use bleach. And so a lot of the rock I've got sitting out there has all been bleached, and it was done about a year ago. And depending on what it looks like when I start a new tank, I then re-bleach it as well. And I found, touch wood, no problems with it. I'm just really cautious with it.
See, people are always wary with bleach. Like, oh, what do you mean bleach? And then you put it in a soak. But like you said, if it's leave it and let it dry completely out, like you said, it evaporates.
You won't smell the bleach.
Bleach does evaporate. You won't smell it. It goes. No. I mean, I used to do it with my filter socks. I used to bleach my filter socks, when I used to have them. Put them all in with the Dettol, the Dettol blue bucket, the non-scented one, like you said, Stick it in there and bleach it. And the bleach stunk like crazy. And I was like, this can't be right. But then once you rinse it, and then I rinsed them under the
It's got
tap,
to be dry.
then put them in soak in normal RO water, yeah, and then I dried them up, hung them up and dried them. You couldn't smell it when you put them in the tank. They were completely gone once they were bone dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, there was a couple of comments. Southeast Reefer, when I moved from my 200 to my 525, lost all my torches in the move. Do you know, with torches,
Wow.
I think they're more sensitive than people think. I know a lot of people say they're really easy to look after and stuff like that. But you do get a lot of people that lose torches. That, you know, I think of hardy corals, but things like chalice, war corals, zoas, stuff like that. I don't think of as a torch as in the same category. They're not as sensitive as some of the others, but I don't think they're bulletproof like a candy cane and other things like that.
No, they're not bomb-proof for sure. No, I agree there for sure. And like you said, all it takes is for one of them to get, damaged or brown jelly disease and all that.
Wipe the whole lot out in no time, can't it?
Wipe the whole lot. A friend of mine, he got a holy grail off me, but he had what was it? I think it was a dragon soul. I think he had a dragon soul which he'd had in his tank for months and months before. Yeah, before mine. So he bought a holy grail, 2-head holy grail off me, and he bought a dragon soul off me as well. Yeah, and he put them all in. They were thriving. Yeah, weeks and weeks, no problem whatsoever. He's like chuffed to death. And then his coral that he got from the other guy, yeah, for some reason he sent me a picture. He said one of the heads has got this, and I said, mate, and I knew straight away. I went, that's not near the others, is it? He said, yeah. I said, get it out as slowly as you can, put it off, whatever you need to do, put that, because that's brown jelly disease. I knew it straight away because I've had it before, yeah.
Oh, really?
And I went, that needs to go. I would say, get that off. I had it in my 170, and I went, get that off straight away. Anyway, he pulled out, but once the brown jelly dislodges from the host, yeah, and it gets into any of the tentacles, it's like a massive infection. And he ended up losing all of them, mate. He lost the Holy Grail, he lost the Dragon Soul of mine, and he was that gutted. Mate, he was devastated. He was gutted. He was, you know what I mean? And I said to him, I'll help him out, I'll sort him out, you know what I mean, and things. But he's just like not got back to me. He's like, I think he was just that disheartened, with it all. And because like you said, really torches, they should be, well, the majority of people say they're bomb-proof, they're great, they're this, that, and the other, but it just takes for them to get that infection or anything like that, it's rotten, mate. They'll die just like anything else.
Yeah. People dip them. I don't know what you dip, but I have seen people, when I've seen Instagram, people dip but I don't know what do you dip in? What do you dip in? Just a normal dip or what? I've never touched wood, I've never had that issue. But I don't know what people dip.
No.
What dip they use for brown jelly. I don't know if anyone knows.
I mean, an iodine, and you could put it in like an iodine dip, couldn't you? Suppose, you know what I mean? Maybe like that. I mean, I've always, when I had mine, I knew straight away I had to get that because it stunk. It stinks like rotten dead flesh, mate. And you've got to take it out of your tank. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And cut whatever it is, that head off. That head needs to come off, and hope that it's not touched any of the others. Do you know what I mean? But I just basically threw mine. I threw mine, so it wasn't. And touch wood, the rest of the torches. Yeah. No, it didn't. It didn't affect them. No, thankfully, it just killed the other one. You know what I mean? But it's bad.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to a couple of questions. I'm going to whiz through some comments. So frag the colonies now while the tank is good. Let the frags heal. Then get rid of the mother colonies. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Scott's saying about wearing gloves because of the pallies and having cuts and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. I must admit, when I frag, I don't. Sometimes I wear gloves, sometimes I don't, especially when doing zoas. And I always look to see if I've got little cuts or stuff like that because you can have a problem to get a little bit of an infection from any coral. But yeah, fair point. John, I agree. Don't want to put a risk of dumping it. So maybe what Scott says, maybe the LFS to take it off your hands. Don't know. We'll come back to Scott's comment in a minute. Just popping in, have a class live stream. Thanks, Exotic Shark. Torches aren't easy. Let's have a look, see what else we've got. Yeah, Stefan, I've seen some of your pictures on Instagram, the torches and gonioporas. I think that's a fair point around. I must admit, I don't think I've had pallies before, and I've stayed clear of them from day one. And also, I don't necessarily like the way they look. And I get some decent ones, but not one of my favourites. I prefer normal zoas, got to say. Torches would also polyp bow with parameter swings. Yeah. A lot of people recommend the KFC dip. Hi guys, sorry late. Let's start from the beginning. Hope you're all good. Yeah, thanks for watching, Joe. Right, I'm going to. Oh, Grumpy Reefer. There we go. Crypro dip, I think.
Crypro.
Scott, I'll come back to that in a bit. Right, so I'm just going to go up. So there was questions. Where was a question that I had? Here we go. John's Reef. Thinking of replacing my scratch tank with a new one, but with an external weir instead of an internal one. Any thoughts? So I think, so if you're going external weir, you must be going custom, because I don't think there's any off the shelf. I think the good thing about external weir is that actually then you've got more room in your tank. So like the Red Sea that you've got, and obviously I've got, Steve, you've got the weir in the middle of the tank. With the DD one, it goes from right to left. So you've got, I think the display looks cleaner. Obviously you've got to move the tank away from the wall because you need some space at the back for the external weir. I've never had an external weir. I think you seem to see more of them in America than you do in this country.
Yeah.
Because you do see people that have the actual glass cut and they've got the holes drilled, and then they just get some custom external weirs that they just put in, screw them up, and then off they go. I can't remember who does it. There was 2 or 3 companies I've seen in America. I haven't seen those kind of do-it-yourself kits in the UK. Usually you have to go custom to get it. NBM Aquarium, so Mickey Boy, who comes in the live stream, I know he does custom that has that with external weir. But I think they look really nice. When
he does.
I haven't seen any in person, but when you see them on YouTube and Instagram, I just think they look really tidy. I don't know what you think, Steve.
Yeah. No, I agree, mate. Yeah, totally agree with you. I think they look fantastic, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've never...
just protrudes a bit more, doesn't it? It just sticks out a bit more because you probably need a good, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 inches. I don't know how deep the weir would be on that. I have no idea.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Right. There was another question here. Steve, do you want to find? I haven't got the link to Scott, the website. Do you want to can you pull it up and share it?
I'll see if I can find it, mate. Yeah.
You can find it.
Yeah, I will do, mate.
Right. And then while you're doing that, there was another question. Right, this question is actually for you, Steve. Do you think your homemade food is more concentrated than shop frozen, as shop frozen is 89% water?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. No doubt. My food's probably 89%, to be fair, and it's probably only 11% water in mine. That's for sure. I mean, yeah. Well, you see, if you look back on how much water I put in, with all that food, I think it was about about 200 mil of water, I think it was, or something. It was very, very little. Yeah, the rest of it is it's very, very concentrated, my food, mate, for sure. That I'm 100% with. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I went off the shops. Nothing against them. Because I don't know what they put in. But to me, yeah, I mean, you just don't know what the water is that they're putting in. Are they putting our own water in? Are they putting tap water in when they're topping up, these cubes? You just never know, do you? I don't have a clue. You know what I mean? So I can't accuse them of doing anything because we don't have proof about it. But for me, I know the only reason I do my food is I know what's going in my food. You know what I mean? And that's the only reason why I make it, is because I know what's going in, and it's all good stuff. The fish love it, corals love it. So for me, I'll always make my own food, and it works out if you think about it. Probably a little bit over what you pay. Maybe £5 or something, say £6 more than what you'd pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a shop. You know, so it's not much more. But you know that your fish are going to love it. My fish, even that fox face, he just devoured. Mo and I shove it in, he's like, boom, straight on it. He's knocking everything out of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely 100%. It's more concentrated.
Yeah, and that's and so when you're doing that, that's Cipro. Yeah, I've looked it up about Cipro, and it is for brown jelly. There's quite a few articles online about it.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let me see.
So there you go. So you haven't seen a difference with the amount that you feed and phosphates and nitrates?
Oh no chance. No.
Yeah,
I haven't. Not nothing, mate, whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because remember, all I'm putting in. Well, if you see the video, you see what I'm putting in. I put all like prawns, put squid in, put mussels in it. I put
the right feast, isn't it?
The what? Yeah, I put white bait fish in it. So I put all those stuff, and then I put now I started to put in the because that stuff that I did last time. I'm on my second batch, so I made another batch now. But what I've done is I've added the Coral Essentials coral power food into it as well this time as well.
Right.
So not only the fish eating, but any bits of the food that goes off has got some of that coral power food in there as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's really in theory, everybody's getting a bit of something. And like I said, you see my my numbers on the last video. 8 ppm in nitrates, which, to be honest, I was a bit shocked at, to be fair. Thought they were going to be either, to be honest, I thought they might be a little bit lower than that, but I'm happy that they were 8 ppm, do you know what I mean? Because that's a good sign. Because, as you know, I have struggled with it for sure, but...
how often are you feeding? Yeah, you do that, and we come on to feeding in a minute.
Every day.
I'm
feeding twice a day now, yeah.
Because you used to feed every other day, didn't you?
Every 2 days. Every 2 days, mate. Yeah. Right. So I've got this now. So how would I send this to you now?
If you got it on the screen,
1 minute.
You put
1 minute. Let me see if I can do this now. I've got to find you now, Anna.
No. If you just share screen, and then I can share it on the screen here, and I'll see it.
All right. Yeah. Oh yeah, got you. You got it?
Yeah, it's coming up now.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Right. Do you want to talk about this, Paul? Or
no, I'll let you, because I know you know more detail than I do. Because I've been away now. I haven't been keeping up with what Scott's doing.
Yeah. So basically, guys, this is a concept which I think is fantastic, and it's Scott's who's in the chat now, Scott Pargo. This is his baby, and this is his whole idea. And what it is what this is about. This is going to be a competition that you can enter. But as time goes, so you can win. I think there's 4 things on it now, if I'm not mistaken. 3 or 4 things that's on it. I've not been on it. This has only just gone live today, literally, as we've been on. So, well, basically, what this is all about is where you can purchase tickets, as many tickets as you want, from prices ranging from £1, £2, £5, depending on what the price is going to be. Now I believe there's a Holy Grail torch in there. There's going to be like higher end Zoas. There's going to be obviously as it goes on, hopefully things will get really big for him. And he said he's going to go on and buy bigger prizes like lights and pumps and stuff like that, all for the price of a ticket. So basically, you could put buy 2 tickets, £4, £2 a ticket, say, and you could be the winner of don't know what, a Holy Grail or whatever the price of the ticket is, and stuff like that. And basically, what this is just like getting people in, to be able to afford. Or be able a chance to win, a prize, like a torch cuddle, where you might not be able to afford £200-300, but you could afford £5 on a ticket, and you can win. You could be in with a chance to win it. You know what I mean? So I think it's a really good idea. And if I could scroll down.
There you go.
If you go onto the website, and here's the thing. So as you can see, so we've got like a bundle, a Hannah check or £2 a ticket, and then you've got the Holy Grail £5 a ticket, and then you've got the 2 polyps of hallucinations for £2 a ticket, and then £100 crack and coral voucher. So you get the point of it, and like Scott said, you know, depending on, you know, hopefully everything will go really good. It'll grow bigger, and then it's just going to get even more, you know, bigger prizes and stuff like that. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, where else you could be the lucky person who pays £5 for a ticket for a Holy Grail, and you can get it. You know what I mean? So these are what you do. So basically, you'll pick your number, whichever number you want. Yeah. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure. So Scott in the comment can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think as long as 50% of the tickets have been sold, then it will go ahead, and what we do is we'll draw it on the live stream when obviously 50% of the tickets have been sold. So I think it's a great idea, and like I said, it's a bit of fun for us all to get into, and I'm sure I'm going to be entering a couple of them anyway. That's for sure. You know what I mean? So go over to his to the website, marinemadnesscompetitions.com, and get yourself a couple of tickets, because like you said, you've got to be in it to win it. So I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Thank you for doing that, Tommy.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. No worries, mate.
Right, let's go back to that. So I'm glad Reef King is with us, because I did see on Instagram, because I when I've been away, I haven't really done much on social media, I haven't really read much. So am I right, Cole? You're building your own tank. You got the glass, and then you're using the silicon to build your own tank. I'm sure I saw that. I'm right in saying that, aren't I, Steve?
Yeah.
Anyway, Cole will tell us how he's getting on.
Yeah.
Am I imagining
he was building his tanks,
changing his tanks more than Reef changing his lights. He's actually a DIY making his own tank. So I'm sure in the comments he'll let us know, and I'll catch up on his social media to see how he's doing. I use salmon, prawns, squid, and mussels. I tell you what, that's a lovely meal. I'd love that was salmon, prawns, squid, and mussels. Count me in.
Yeah, that was another thing that I forgot mixed out of it. Yeah, salmon. I did put salmon in it as well.
Did you?
The only thing with salmon is the only thing with that salmon, is it's an oily fish. Yeah. And sometimes you do see the oil, like when I put it in. If you know, I get one of the cubes, you can see this on the top of the surface. You know what I mean? Of it, but that's not often, to be fair, because it's by the time it's gone in the water, the fish are onto it. So
yeah.
But yeah, it does sound like you said. It's something we could all eat in the Mediterranean, couldn't it? Or where you just come back from.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That's like a wonderful platter, isn't it?
I dined out on fish. I know, you know, I'm in the hobby, so you know, should I be eating fish? Well, I dined out on fish every night. I mean, I love fish anyway. I've got to say, if I couldn't make my own food, because I think if there was like prawns and salmon, I'd be eating it all myself.
Yeah,
I just love. I'd rather have fish than meat. That's me personally, but there we go.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I do like fish myself. To be fair,
it's nice, especially when you go abroad. It just tastes that much better, that much fresher, and quite often it's a damn sight cheaper as well, which helps as well. To be fair.
Yeah, for sure, mate. For sure.
So what else have we got? I think we're going towards the end of that.
So Southeast Reefers put raffles for corals. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what it is, isn't it, Paul? You know what I mean? To be honest,
yes.
But you purchase a ticket, you get a number, you purchase whichever number you want, and then basically pay for it, and then get in it, and then hopefully you win it. So that's how it goes, mate. Yeah.
Okay. Steve, you know when you feed your fish, do you use syringes at all or not?
No,
because I use
syringes.
I have a little.
Mate, I've got great big chunks of fish that are
No,
floating
of course
around
you
me.
can't. Sorry, no, of course that doesn't work for you. So I with mysis and things like that, but I have problems getting these. So look at this beauty I bought.
Jesus.
So I've now got. I mean, that should be in a hospital, shouldn't it? So that's what I use. I use like mysis and stuff like that. So I put it in a pot, use that, and use that baby. And when they came through the post, I didn't realise I was going to get.
That should be on a farm, mate, for cows. That should be, mate. No, what are you talking about? That's insane.
I should have the old sheep gloves on for that baby.
You need some of Ross's old gloves. What he had, remember? The gloves that went up to his shoulders. Need some of them, mate.
So what do you do? Do you just you get the little pods, you defrost it and just fry it all in?
Well, you see what I made those squares, didn't I? Yeah, and then I had the flat packs, and then I have the I squashed them out into the packs. Yeah, so I break big chunks of that off, smash it up into pieces in the bag, break a big chunk of it off, put it in the Tupperware jug, the Tupperware jug, put some tank water in it, give it a mix around once it's defrost, and just tip it in, mate, and they just savage it. Yeah, they all go to it. But like you said, some of the bits that go floating, the torch corals get, then the bubble coral gets, then the Duncans get it. So the LPS stuff, they all seem to get it. But like because I've mixed the coral power food with it now as well. Yeah, any little fine particles that the SPS get, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So the whole tank's getting fed. When I feed my fish, so they love it, mate. They love it. Honest to God, it's it's really good. They love it. But 100%, make your own food. Make your own. I mean, nothing against like buying other foods from stores, but with your own food, you know what's going in it. You know what I mean? Or in Paul's case, you just keep buying those from the shop, Paul, because you'll eat. I
do. I have no food. And I tell you the reason why I use this is because I actually have a lid on the tank, and I can't be bothered to take the lid off the tank. So that fits through the hole, and you squirt. So I haven't got to move. I haven't got to take it off. Am I the only one that
call me lazy? You lot call me lazy. What's all that about? You lazy reef.
I've got to mess around. I've got to lift the lid. I've got to do all of that. So you just you go, squirt, you're sorted.
So hard that, isn't it? To lift the lid. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, it's pretty hard.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna. If Jay doesn't watch it back, Jay will love that. He'll absolutely love it.
Jay will go out and buy one of them, mate. I tell you.
I've got about 20 of these. There was about, and I bought in a pack for like a tenner, but I didn't realise I got. I think 10 or 20 of them. I think there are 20 of them. And got a raffle prize.
Cottage Reef, that's for administering an animal. You're right, mate. It is.
Yeah.
Don't go to Paul's garage with Jeeves in there, mate. Yeah, he might be holding it. Yeah, stay away.
Yeah. Get a feeding bottle. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a feeding bottle. To be fair, I've got a feeding bottle. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, I suppose you could do, but I mean, you see, when I defrost mine, it's raw fish in it. So sometimes I've left it, like a little bit of a tub, because I've done too much, and I've left it. I put it in the fridge, and I thought I'll feed it in the morning, but freaking hell, mate, it starts to stink that fridge out, and my missus is like, "What in the hell?" She's like looking around, like, I put the fish right on the top shelf, so she can't reach it. You know what I mean?
Shelf.
So I'm like,
your top shelf now is fish food.
Yeah, the top shelf fish food, mate. Yeah, so it's like she goes, "Have you got something fishy up on the top shelf of there?" I'm like, "No, love, no, I haven't." And it's all the fish food that I've forgotten to add into it. So, mate, yeah, she knows anyway now. So yeah. So now what I tend to do is I make break enough, just enough to go in the tank or feed it. Like I said, I feed them twice a day now. One in the morning and one in the evening.
Yeah.
And just enough that I don't need to have it in a bottle. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's no harm in putting in a bottle for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So what else have we got here? I buy a bottle of Aquaforest mysis, 2 squirts, and my fish and corals are fed. Yeah, it's fair enough. There's some comments in there about.
I do want to try that the ones that AAC use.
Ah,
Is it
right. The Reef
the Oyster
New,
Feast and all that? What is it? Reef
Reef
Nutrition, is it?
New, yeah, Reef Nutrition.
There's a lot of things I've been reading is about those. You know, those oyster eggs and all. Is it the oyster eggs?
I mean,
Corals absolutely love it. Is it the oyster eggs? I think it is.
Reef Nutrition.
Yeah, I'm sure it's. Yeah, it's the oyster eggs. Everybody was raving about them, saying, "Oh, they're really good. You got to get them." Yeah, yeah. And I have been meaning. Well, when I go to the LFS store, I have to see if they actually stock them.
Right, let's have a look. So
yeah,
so they do quite a few. This is the US one. Is it the Oyster Feast?
Lobster eggs. They are not oyster eggs. Lobster eggs. That's the ones.
Yeah, I've used the TDO. The fish absolutely love the TDO. I used to use that when I was trying to breathe.
What is that?
It's pellets. So this one is
pellets
when it loads. I've got to say that I used to do it for people use it when they're breeding fish because they're just full of nutrition.
Right.
And you can get small pellets or medium and different size. But those ones as a pellet, they're really, really good. So you're talking about oyster eggs. Let's see if I can find it.
Oyster eggs, yeah.
Oceano eggs.
There's so many different Oyster things. Feast there. That's it, isn't it? Oyster Feast. Is that it?
On there. Let's have a look. Let's click on it.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, that. Oyster eggs, yeah, that's the one.
Bigger.
Yeah, that's really the one.
Big. Yeah. Oh, you go.
Yeah, them ones. Yeah, that's the ones. That's what I've read. Everybody, they all seem to. Your tank loves them, but you only need a very, very small amount of it. You know what I mean? It's very, very concentrated. Yeah. I mean, they are supposed to be expensive, for what it is. But I mean, what they say, it goes a long way. You know what I mean? It was on one of the. Was it Reef to Reef or one of the forums I watched it? I seen it. There was a post on it about him asking what did they think of it, and there was loads of people that commented saying, yeah, they love it. One of them says, yeah, that's all they use and stuff like that for the tanking. So yeah, and I might try some of them, to be fair.
Yeah,
try them out, see what they're like.
Yeah,
like I said, you want to mix and match, don't you? You know what you want to mix and thing. You because you don't want your tank to get used to. Yeah, you want a bit of variety. You don't want your tank to just get used to well, he's feeding me this, that, and the other all the time, and so you want to mix it up a bit. So so your corals are healthier. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, and your fish. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I'm gonna try something different
things. So I've got one type of flake, I've got two different types of pellet, then I've got mysis, and I kind of rotate amongst those. But there's no harm in having more than that. And occasionally I'll crush them up and then feed a little bit of the flake and a little bit of the pellets. I've only got small fish, so you can get the really small pellets. So I think you're right. I think to mix up the different foods and stuff like that can only help, can't it? Let's face it, they get a variety and everything else for both the corals, especially the small particles. That really helps the corals as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Like I said, it's more of a choice in it, for mixing and matching and stuff like that. And yeah, it gives you corals something different to try. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And now I'm not allowed to put fish food in or fish stuff in the fridge. No. She bought me a mini Xbox fridge for the fish bits. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well. To be honest, my dog has raw meat. The dog's on a raw meat diet.
Yeah.
So I've had to have a separate freezer. Yeah. So I've got two freezers. I've got my fridge freezer, and then I've got the dog's freezer on its own. Yeah. But the top shelf is the fish food. So the dog's got the second, the third, and the fourth. Yeah. And then my fish food is all in the first one. So so we're sharing. So I've got an animal freezer, and then I've got our freezer. But when I defrost it, that's what I said. I can't put it back in the freezer, so I just tend to put it in the fridge. And the missus goes mad because it stinks, mate. It does stink.
I don't blame
being in there for the day. Oh yeah, so she hits the roof. So now I'm not allowed myself. I'm not allowed.
Yeah,
I might have to get one of those little tiny little fridges. To be fair, a little mini fridge.
Yeah, but you're gonna end up putting beer in that, and where are you gonna keep it?
Yeah.
Dear. I tell you what, the only thing I tend to keep in the fridge now is the glue. So the Ecotech glue I keep in the fridge because it keeps for ages. Yeah. Doesn't go off.
Wow.
So it lasts months and months by keeping, once it's open, put it in the fridge. I know people use some of the other glue and they use a little packets and things like that. But the Ecotech glue lasts me 9 months, 12 months because it stays in the fridge. It doesn't go off. The only way I end up throwing it is the nozzle sometimes gets blocked.
Yeah.
And you can't put a needle
like
through
it
to do it. But that takes months and months to do it. So I find with glue that Ecotech's the best one. I know it's quite expensive. It's like 27 quid for about 75 milliliters, but it lasts a year.
Yeah, no, I do. To be honest, I do like the Ecotech glue. To be fair, well, like I said, it is expensive for what it is. You know, considering you can get stuff that's just the same. But you know what though? I think I used to use that. You know that Gorilla Glue. You know the Gorilla Glue. It's the Gorilla Glue with the green top. Yeah, I used to use that all the time.
That's really
and
good.
You used to go to Asda, or wherever, Finger Saver or whatever the shops were, You used to go to there, and they used to be like £4.95, £5. Now, mate, I see them, in my local LFS store, and they were selling for £9
really
for a 30 gram.
Wow.
£9, mate, for a 30 gram
so that's more expensive than the Ecotech, because Ecotech's 27 for 75 mil. But with that Gorilla Glue, did you used to keep it in the fridge, or did you use it and then it go off?
No, I used to just add the screw cap, didn't I? So I'd use it and then put the screw cap on and just put it in the cupboard. That's what I used to do. It used to be all right, to be fair. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've never put any of my glue in. I've never put any of my glue in the fridge.
So I don't know where I got it from. I've always put the Ecotech one in, and I used to frag loads of stuff. So I used to use loads of glue, and it just used to last a long, long time. Where people were saying they get the glue, they end up binning it within, I don't know, 2 or 3 uses or 2 or 3 months. Whereas mine would last a whole year. But I just find it saves money.
I'm just having a look here. They post it from AAC with a frozen pack to keep them cool. Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, did not. You know what? I'll get in touch and I'll get some of that stuff because from AAC. I might try. I've seen they do the little smaller tubs. They do smaller tubs, and maybe get to one of like maybe
get two or three different ones.
Different ones. And just try. See, because I don't want to be spending stupid amounts of money on them. You know what I mean? To be honest. But I can see how they try it in car. But I will, I'll try them.
Absolutely. And also the Rotty Feast. I've got them all.
Yeah.
The Max Spec 20 tubes for 20 quid is so good and lasts forever. Yeah, it sounds like good value there, John.
How much tube? Tricky now.
I know.
Wow.
So John, is it a case of one use? So you use the one tube, use it once, and then you bin it. So basically, you got 20 tubes for 20 occasions.
Yeah, it must be.
There you go. Grumpy Reefer, Gorilla Glue in the fridge. Lasts much longer.
Fair play.
Yeah. What's this? Hate Gorilla Glue. The bottle's only half full and you can't ever get more than half of it out of the bottle. Yeah, let's sell it 50 grand for 6 quid. It's my go-to. So it's pretty cheap and it's 6 quid a shot.
I don't know where he's going to. I don't know which one he's going to. I need to speak to him. Because I'll speak to him, and I said it was selling them for 9 quid because I was like, no, I'm not going there.
No,
I'm not having that.
Yeah.
No chance, mate.
There you go. Haley puts Gorilla Glue in the fridge. It's a thing, Steve. People putting the glue in the fridge.
I never put my glue in the fridge ever, mate.
But have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about it though?
No, didn't even think about it, mate. It's one of those things, that has never ever come into my head of putting glue in the fridge. Because when you buy a glue, you don't buy it out the fridge, do you? You know what I mean? You buy it from when it's hung up, don't you? Or not?
Yeah.
So it's like,
where's the glue? It's like in the freezer at the end. It's in with the fish fingers.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, it's like, I just do what I need to do with the glue and I stick it back in the cupboard, mate. So no, I've never. But it just goes to show what you learn on this channel, mate. I'm gonna buy when I buy some of my next glue. I'm gonna put it in the fridge, and then my missus can say you've stuck everything together now because the glue's leaked. So so we'll have a morning at that, mate. So
what you don't want is upside down, and it goes around the edge of the fridge, and you can't open the fridge.
Yeah,
that would be a schoolboy error.
Yeah.
Dear. Right. So John uses a tube probably 5 times.
Wow.
And
That is
John,
really good.
do you once open, do you keep it in the fridge? That's the question. And then you've got that one. You've got Kraken and Finest Cell own brand. Steve
Yeah,
B&Q
I've used that stuff.
Gorilla Glue for less than like £6, and sometimes it's offer on Tesco's. So
Well,
shop around.
I went to Asda, and no matter what, Asda, they have every other Gorilla Glue. They have the brown top, the orange top, every top apart from the green one. They've never got the green ones in stock, mate, at the Asda.
Right.
Never.
So stupid question. Why can you only use the green top and not the others?
Is it cranolite glue or something like that? Cranogelic glue, is it? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's you can't use the other one. Plus the other one, the brown top on it, is more of a liquid. It's more of a liquid, whereas this is a gel, isn't it? You know what I mean? So
no, I haven't used. I've used Gorilla Glue, but not for fragging.
Yeah, it's the cranolite glue. It is.
Yeah, which is that one there.
Cool. What did he say? What did he say about that then? Cranolite glue. What?
Let me put it back.
Won't go off
if there is air in the
bottle.
Is
air in the bottle, hence going off. Ah, right. I see. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, but I just find I think because where you use the glue and obviously you're using it and it just gets stuck around the nib a little bit, doesn't it? And so therefore it dries in no time and it starts getting a bit yucky. And stuff like that. The green top is gel. Grumpy Reefer is saying the blue top. He uses the blue top one, no issues.
Wow, does it? Serious?
Really good glue and so economical. So there's a big thumbs up. Seems to be for the Gorilla Glue. I have seen that quite a bit online on videos and things that people use in the Gorilla Glue. And there you go. I got the smaller tubs sent out to me, Steve. I've got 4 different ones off of them. My fish go mad for the ROE. So that's from AAC.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Nice. You know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it, mate. I will. I'm going to try it. I'll get someone and I'll do a video on what I think of it, mate. I'll try some.
Yeah. And like anything, you can kind of DIY. You know, the scientific name you can buy online in bulk, way cheaper. Yeah, it's like a lot of things, isn't it? People making their own components and supplements and all kinds of things. And there we go. Lots of cheap stuff on Amazon. Yeah.
See, I'm always, you know what, these guys, they know the stuff, these like Cottage Reef and, Scott and stuff like, and like, I'm always wary, even though I'll see that name, like what Cottage Reef put, Cryanolite, I can't even pronounce it or whatever it's called, I'll see it, and I might see it on Amazon, and it'll say Cryanolite glue, blah, 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 and I go, right, and it might be like 150 gram gel for £2.99 or whatever. But I'd still, me, idiot here, I'd still buy the green top 30 gram one because I know that one is reef safe. You know what I mean? But like he says, anything like that with that name, Cryanolite, or whatever it's called, is good. But it's just in my mind, like, what happens if I put it in? It poisons the tank, or it does.
You want to see there's something that says for corals, so you pay the coral tax.
Yeah, so
you got peace of mind, haven't you? It's like the Ecotech one. I've always used that one. I'll get on the way. It glues it pretty well underwater and stuff like that. I get one.
Yeah.
One a year, and I usually put it on my birthday list, on my Christmas list, and someone buys it for me, and it goes in the fridge, and that's where it stays. And then after a year, it's probably had it. So could I do that? I don't think of any other brands because I'm happy with that one. So I don't worry about it. But I know what you mean about you put off about, should I get this? Is it that? What's it going to do? I've got thousands of pounds of corals. Am I going to mess it up? Bloody, bloody, blah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
That's it, mate. That's it. That's it. And that's probably the naivety of it, of thinking, oh, well, is it, should I do it or should I not? And no, I paid £9 for the other stuff as opposed to £2.99. You know what I mean? And like you said, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reef taxes, that's exactly what it is, mate, for sure. You know what I mean? But anybody who's knows that of any cheap glue, private message me on my phone, private message me on Instagram. Let me know. Give me a link to it. I'll go on and buy some.
But the thing is, Steve, in the scheme of things, I know every penny counts and everything. I get it, but you know, 5 or 10 quid for glue. When you think how much else we spend, but I think if you shop around for everything, you can end up saving a hell of a lot, can't you?
Absolutely. Well, it's just like you remember when we were talking about months and months ago about citric acid, wasn't it? You know, the citric acid, when you said how expensive it's gone when you bought a bag and you paid
like
what?
9 quid
Was
a
it
bag?
5?
It was 20 quid a bag on Amazon, I think.
And then it was 20 quid. Exactly. For the same size bag. And you're like, what in the hell? You know what I mean? It's just gone madness, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? But really, in fairness, citric acid is citric acid, in it, no matter what you buy, yeah? And LFS, remember they had those little tiny tubs which had about, I think it had about 200 grams or something in it.
A DD one that cleans, it's really expensive. And it's basically citric acid. It's not vinegar.
Citric acid.
Because vinegar, the effect that has on moving parts, as we know with Vortex, it can mess up the vortex, can't it?
It can pull them apart, can't it? Yeah. No, exactly, yeah. But it was mad, mate. It's like 16 quid or something for a little tiny 200 gram tub or so much stupid like that. You know what I mean? It was mad. And like I said, that's all it is. It's just reef tax.
It is. And things like the citric acid, I think that lasts a long time. I mean, I've been using the same bag for quite a while. You don't actually need that much in a container to clean the power heads and everything else. So it works pretty well. It works pretty well. Right. So got any other? I'm just going to go through the comments. I think I've covered off all the comments. If anyone's got anything they want to cover off or ask or anything like that, I'm just going to go back up. There's loads of stuff about glue. I wasn't expecting to go down the glue route, but yeah, been a good chat. Cole's talking about India Aquatics. That's his go-to for glass and for tanks.
Nice.
Reef nutrition. So Steve, how much do you think you'll be able to clear out from the sandbed? Do you think you can clear many corals, or do you think it's a good intention but it ain't going to work?
I think probably a good intention that's not going to work. You know what I mean? To me, if the truth be told, no. To be honest, I am trying to. I'm trying to do like what Scott said. Is like, you know, like maybe frag some of the pieces up. The only thing that this is what I said to Scott, yeah. If I had a frag tank, no problem whatsoever. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I hate having frag racks in my tank. I just hate them. You know what I mean? They just look. I just don't like them. Yeah. So when you've got them there and you're fragging and you're doing that stuff and you've rested them, you got to let them rest for a bit. You know, it takes time, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Whereas if you had a frag tank, you could cut them, frag them, put them in your frag tank, let them rest in there till God knows whatever, like how many times you want, and then just take them to the LFS store, get store credit or sell them on. It's no problem whatsoever then, you know what I mean? But for me, it's just having the space. So if
the thing, isn't it?
If the space was no object, no problem, then mate, that sandbed will be gone. It'd be cleared up, you know what I mean? It'd be gone, no problem whatsoever. Yeah, and I just have like the chalice on there, the scholar, you know, me torches, just those things, you know, the main things, and the bubble coral. I won't have anything else on there. That was all I would have. But like I said, it's just really the space of when I do frag them, and letting them rest. Don't get me wrong, like Scott said, you take it to your LFS store and they'll just trade you. They'll trade you, mate. They might only give you like 30 quid or 40 quid.
I take colonies into AAC and they'll take them up a hand. I know he's going to frag them and stuff, and some other things I've fragged up. And I've got to say, if I want to offload a few corals, I'll just frag it, take it into AAC and Paul take them off me. And it saves them putting it on band and other places like that, and people coming around and things like that. And I get a decent price from Paul, to be fair. And that's what I do. If I break down one of the tanks in the garage, and I'll probably take most of the corals into him, and it's just done then. And I'll the problem I've got is I've got some nice scollies, and so I've got to find a place for the scollies. I'm not getting rid of those. They'll probably go in the floating aquascape, so I've got to move that around a little bit because I've got you've got a war paint. War paint scollies are lovely, aren't they? So I've got a war paint scolly.
Oh, mate,
the bigger one. And I've got 2 button ones, which obviously they're easier to put in the other tank, but I do.
Well, I've shifted it. shifted some of the zoas. Scott collected some of the zoas from me. Yeah, that I had. The seduction zoas, they were just growing like mad, mate. I had loads of them, and they were all over the show. So obviously he collected them, but it made that space there. Whereas where the scully was under, it was under this side, and it was under that ledge. Now I moved the scully from there, and I've moved it to where those zoas were. Now it's getting more light, and it's just puffed up like a big, massive
flow
donut
as well,
now,
isn't
mate.
it?
It's getting better flow. It's got that thing, and like you said, when you do shift around things off your sandbed, you are getting a nice flow. You do get a nice flow, a better flow across the sandbed because there's nothing stopping it. You know what I mean?
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So and it just works better. It just looks better as well. You know what I mean? So for me, it's I definitely need to do it, and I definitely need to get rid of it of some of the stuff. And I know, like I said, and Scott said, they would take them up to there. They'll just give it. They'll sort me out, mate. You know what I mean? They'll say, no problem, we'll sort this. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see.
That is one of the regrets I had on the bigger tank, that I didn't get rid of corals sooner to create more space, and then the corals are there. I think would have grown. They may or may not have grown quicker, but they would have had a better shape to them. When you get lots of corals close to one another, I think the shape is restricted. But when it's open, you get a far better shape to them, and then you can frag the middle part, so then you get more air through them, and then they grow even better. So I think if I had another larger tank, I would be more harsher with the fragging, and I'd keep them wider apart as well. And I think then they look better. Vikings Reef, when he was on the live stream, you think about his tank. He's got not massive of corals, hasn't he? But he's got a lot of space between the corals, and they've grown into really nice shapes. So for me, that was a big lesson learned in terms of that. I'd have less corals, more space, and then trim them often.
There's no doubt, mate. There's no doubt in my mind. If I went bigger than this, say to a 525 or something, I'd obviously I'd probably keep that rock anyway, and I'd just add on to that rock. You know what I mean? Maybe another scape, another ledge, or something. I'd figure something out, But no doubt in my mind, I'd have SPS on one section, and then maybe LPS on the other. And stuff. But on the SPS, there's no doubt. Even if it's a great big huge ledge, I'd probably have three SPS, higher end SPS on there. That's it. That is all I would have. I wouldn't go like 6, 7, 8 on there, because that's where I made the mistake with that. You put them, and when you put them as tiny frags, you think it looks bare. Oh, let's stick another one, and stick another one, stick another one, and it's just, before you know it, there's like 12 little pieces of SPS stuck in all the rock, and it looks good, that. But then in reality of it, once it all starts growing and fuses on the rock, then you're doomed, because you can't get it off the rock. You know what I mean? And you're stuck with it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, that's the biggest mistake, and I always say it, is putting those SPS too close together. That's the bottom. That's, as a cardinal sin in one sense. I should never have done it, but I was new to it, and I didn't really. You want to see it all growing out dead quick, don't you? When in reality, space, put one out and then leave at least 4 inches, 5 inches, then put another one 4 or 5 inches, and do it that way. That's the best way to go.
The only other way to do it, if you can do the 6 or 7, have a small piece of rock, and they grow out on that small piece of rock that's on top of the ledge, and then as I start remove it and sell it. So you've got, because the thing is, the reason why you fill in the gaps, because it looks so bare. So you can say, right, that one's staying, that one's staying. Get a nice little piece of rubber rock, stick it on there, and then you can take it out easily, and everything will be okay. So that's another way of doing it. Right, we're nearly out of time, and there's a couple more comments there. So Southeast Reef is going to find out if the glue's allowed in the fridge. You never know. That call that a win. Because he's going to start his own glue label. Treble his money.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll buy it off you. Yes, mate.
It's a shame we didn't see this earlier. Yes, because I would have found it. Yes, I have. So there is.
What is this?
It's a 3D printed device. I'll see if I can find the link. And I think it hangs down, or I'm not too sure how it attaches. You put your power head, and it rotates from left to right. So basically, you get a really nice flow in your tank.
I've never seen that. Wow. Yeah, you'll have to definitely dig that one out, mate.
You can put like a Nero 3 or anything on there. Obviously, the magnet would probably need to be able to be submersible as well. So it'd be no good for an Ecotech Vortec.
Yeah, an Ecotech will work, would it?
It wouldn't work. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I'll find the link somewhere. I stumbled across it the other day, but didn't really think about it. I'll find it and I'll share it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Carl, not this evening. Right, and that's the last one, and we're nearly out. So little USPS goes go to war. They will eventually leave a small place between them, large colonies only. And then sometimes you get one that will take over. So there's some Monties that will just carve everything else up. And I did do that. And what I did was they were just all weaving in together, and it just caused chaos.
Yeah.
Right, we are at time. Thank you all for those joining this evening. Really appreciate it. Some great comments. Thank you for that. Steve, thank you for always.
Absolutely.
I think Jay's back next
Cheers,
week.
mate.
I'm sure he is. So
unless he's still on the train.
Well, maybe he'll get lost, like Paddington Bear. Please return to wherever he lives. Right, so everyone, have a good one. Cheers all.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.